Good morning. It's Sunday again, and it's the 5th of July, and we're still at home. Hopefully, maybe next week we'll be at church. We'll have to wait and see. But this morning, I want to carry on slightly from last week, and we're looking at Paul's message to the Corinthians and a little passage of that. So I'm going to start reading. It's quite a long reading. But 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Warning from Israel's history. For I do not want you to be ignorant of the fact, brothers and sisters, that our ancestors were all under the cloud, and that they all passed through the sea. They were all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. They all ate the same spiritual food and drank the same spiritual drink. For they drank from the spiritual rock that accompanied them. That rock was the Lord. Nevertheless, God was not pleased with most of them. Their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. Now these things occurred as examples to keep us from setting our hearts on evil things as they did. Do not be idolaters, as some of them were, as it is written. The people sat down to eat and drink, and got up to indulge in revelry. We should not commit sexual immorality, as some of them did. And in one day 23,000 of them died. We should not test the Lord, as some of them did, and were killed by snakes. Do not grumble, as some of them did, and were killed by the destroying angel. These things happened to them as examples, and were written down as warnings to us, on whom the culmination of the ages has come. So if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. No temptation has overtaken you, except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out, so that you can endure it. Therefore, my dear friends, flee from idolatry. I speak to sensible people. Judge for yourselves what I say. Is not the cup of thanksgiving, for which we give thanks, a participation in the blood of Christ? And is not the bread that we break a participation in the body of Christ? Because there is one loaf, we, who are many, are one body, for we all share the one loaf. Consider the children of Israel. Do not those who eat the sacrifices participate in the altar? Do I mean then that the food sacrificed to an idol is anything, or that an idol is anything? No, but the sacrifices of pagans are offered to demons, not to God. And I do not want you to be participate with demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons too. You cannot have a part in both the Lord's table and the table of demons. You are trying to arouse the Lord's anger. Are we stronger than he? I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. No one should seek their own good, but the good of others. Eat anything sold in the meat market without raising question of conscience, for the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. If an unbeliever invites you to a meal and you want to go, eat whatever is put before you without raising question of conscience. But if someone says to you, "This has been offered in sacrifice," then do not eat it, both for the sake of the one who told you and for the sake of conscience. I am referring to the other person's conscience, not yours. For why is my freedom being judged by another's conscience? If I take part in the meal with thankfulness, why am I denounced? Because of something I thank God for. So whatever you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do it for the glory of God. Do not cause anyone to stumble, whether Jews, Greeks, or the church of God, even as I try to please everyone in every way. For I am not seeking my own good, but the good of many, so that they may be saved. Quite a long passage there, and quite a lot to get your head round, I think. But there's three basic principles that run right the way through that. The first one is put God first. Put others second and yourself last. The children of Israel, in that passage, Paul reminds us that they did many things that were wrong. And they were punished for it. God also sorted them out. He cleansed the people, children of Israel. And then he looked at food. And he looked at conscience. Food and conscience, funny things to talk about. But if we think about it, and put it in this way, if you are with friends and they want to do something that's wrong, you want to please them and join in. But what is that actually doing? That's actually telling them that you think that what they're doing is all right. You think it's good. But you need to look at your conscience. Is what they're doing good? Or is what they're doing wrong? If something that they are doing is wrong, we do them a disservice in allowing them to do it. If we said, no, I'm not doing that, that's wrong. We shouldn't be doing that. But we want to have fun, we want to have a laugh. But if that laugh is at somebody else's expense, is that really right? Is it honouring to God? At work, is it right to claim for hours that we haven't done? Is it right to have things that we haven't paid for? Is it right that we walk out the shop and laugh because the person on the till didn't put something through? Say, oh, we didn't have to pay for that. Is that right or is that wrong? That person realised what had happened, and the next time they saw us, we were walking in a church door. Is that honouring to us? Is that honouring to God? And what opinion would they then have of Christians and of God and the church? In part of that last passage, we read, so whatever you do, whatever you eat or drink, or whatever you do it for the glory of God. Do not cause anyone to stumble, whether Jews, Greeks, or the church of God. A few years ago, you can probably still get them, there were little bracelets that people quite often wore. And they would have WWJD. What would Jesus do? One of the things I was always reminded of was that my mum used to say to me was, even if I can't see you, God can. So whatever you do, remember that God can see you. We so often try and do things and think that nobody's noticed, think we've got away with it. But God sees us all the time. There's nothing escapes him. So when we do things, when we go places, we always need to remember to put God first. Do things to honour him. If we do that, the second one automatically falls into place. We put others second. Why do we put others second? What Paul says, for I am not seeking my own good, but the good of many, so that they may be saved. Our ultimate goal should be that our lives should be a witness to Christ, a witness to him, to point people to him, to give their hearts to him. So in all that we do, we should honour God. We should honour him, respect him, follow his commands. Because his commands are there to help and protect us. They're not there to make our life difficult. They're there to make our lives easy. Easy and honouring to him. They're there for our own good, for our own protection. The 10 Commandments were given to show us how to live our lives. Even if somebody isn't a Christian and they follow the majority of the 10 Commandments, they will be considered a good person. They will not steal. They will not kill. They will not commit adultery. They will not covet. All of those commandments, if people followed them, people would be respected. But so many people don't even follow those. They want what's best for them. They want what makes them look good. Many Christians fall into that same trap as well. I've done this, I've done that, I've done the other. We were told in Revelations, at the end, we will all be judged. And some will say, I did this in your name. I did that in your name. And God will say, depart from me. I never knew you. In other words, you were doing it for yourself. So coming back to this passage. So whatever we do, do it for the glory of God. All that we do needs to point to God, to the God that we trust, to the God that we follow. Amen.